About 5 years ago, I was riding my mountain bike, and I had a shimmy. You know a shimmy? You know what a shimmy is? Basically, you're going along, and the bike gets a life of its own. And I was in France, and I pressed the brake, but I got the wrong one. So I went over the top, and I landed, and I put my arm out, but it didn't work. So I landed on my face, and it did terrible things. Broke my arm, broke my jaw. Those aren't the interesting bits. Although I must confess, learning to shave with a razor with your left hand is really fascinating. But what's really interesting about that was, everyone I explained this to, and I explained I'd gone into the accident and landed on my face, the first question they asked me was, guess what? Were you wearing a helmet? Why? Because it was deep in their minds. So recently, when there was this discussion about helmet wearing and the impact of helmet wearing on cycle use, I got very interested. And apparently in some parts of the world, it's mandatory, places like Victoria and Australia, it's mandatory to wear a helmet. And once this law came in, the number of people injured through bicycle accidents went down. So well-meaning people brought this law in. But what they didn't realize, it would have other effects. So for example, one of the effects it had apparently was the kids thought it wasn't cool. So they wouldn't wear the helmet, so they wouldn't cycle. You with me? So the number of people cycling went down. Now, if you think about that, that's cool, but how are the kids getting around? I bet the parents were driving them around, which meant the traffic on the roads went up. You with me? And all the time the kids were lying in the back, they were getting tubby. No exercise. What I'm trying to describe is, when you kick off change, you have to look into the future. You have to look into the future to understand the impact of what you're going to do. Otherwise, when you succeed, it might be miserable. So it's important, if you want to succeed in change, that you bring people with you. You allow them to create the vision. You don't take your vision with great big views of yourself and impose them on everyone. You allow people to join in. And it's crucial that you do it in a humble way, because they come up with stuff which is much better than what you thought of in the first place. So those are 3 bits. 1, you have to recognize that the type of change we're dealing with is not rigid. And when it's flexible, you have to look backwards and forwards and plan and discuss and so on. The second one is really to make absolutely certain that as you're trying to drive through this change, you don't confuse yourself. And the last one is bring them with you. So if you can take those 3 thoughts away, I think I'll be quite pleased.